I want you to go to that moment. You know the one. You are sitting in front of your laptop. The room is quiet. The hum of the computer is the only sound. On the screen, there is a button. Maybe it says, publish. Maybe it says, buy. Maybe it says, send. You have done the research. You know the math works. You know this is the move that changes everything. But your hand won't move. Your heart starts hammering against your ribs like a trapped bird. Your palms get sweaty. Your throat goes dry. A thick, heavy fog rolls into your brain. You can't think. You can't breathe. You are paralyzed. And in that silence, you close the tab. You walk away. You tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow. But you know you won't. Why does this happen? Why? When you are standing at the exact threshold of the success you claim to want, does your own body revolt against you? Why does the prospect of making money trigger the same biological response as a gun being pointed at your head? This isn't laziness. This isn't lack of motivation. This is a biological override. It is a mechanism deep inside your skull called the freeze response. And right now, it is the single greatest wall standing between you and the life you deserve. It is the reason you are smart, capable, and broke. Today, we are going to walk into the fog. We are going to find the switch that freezes your nervous system. And we are going to shatter it. To understand the freeze, you have to understand the animal you are living inside. You are not a computer. You are a biological machine designed for one thing: survival. For 2 million years, your nervous system had 3 responses to danger: fight, flight, or freeze. If a tiger is chasing you, you run. That's flight. If the tiger corners you, you attack. That's fight. But if the tiger hasn't seen you yet, if a predator is sniffing around the bush you are hiding in, what do? You freeze. You stop breathing. You turn into a statue. You play dead. Because if you move, you die. Fast forward to 2024. There are no tigers. But there is the stock market. There is the business launch. There is the sales call. To your ancient brain, risk is risk. It cannot distinguish between risk of losing $500 and risk of being eaten. Both represent a threat to your resources. Both represent a threat to your stability. So, when you are about to take a financial risk, even a smart one, your amygdala screams, "Predator!" It floods your system with cortisol. But you can't run away from a website. You can't punch a bank account. So your brain chooses the only option left. It pulls the emergency brake. It freezes you. This is why you get brain fog. It is a defense mechanism. Your brain is literally cutting power to your prefrontal cortex, your logic center, to force you to stop moving. It thinks it is saving your life. In reality, it is killing your future. The tragedy of the modern human is that we are terrified of the very things that will save us. You are freezing in front of the door to freedom because your biology thinks it's the door to death. Let's dig deeper into the psychology of the freeze. For many of you, the paralysis wears a very expensive mask. It calls itself perfectionism. You tell yourself, "I'm not starting yet because I have high standards. I want it to be right." That sounds noble. It sounds professional. It is a lie. Perfectionism is not the pursuit of excellence. Perfectionism is the avoidance of shame. You are terrified that if you launch the product and it isn't perfect, people will laugh. You are terrified that if you invest and lose, you will look stupid. So you analyze. You research. You plan. You build the perfect strategy in your head. This is called analysis paralysis. It feels like work. It feels like progress. But it is actually a form of hiding. As long as you are planning, you are safe. You haven't been judged yet. You haven't failed yet. The potential is still pure. The moment you take action, the potential collapses into reality, and reality is messy. Your brain prefers the safety of a perfect fantasy to the risk of an imperfect reality. So you freeze. You stand on the edge of the diving board, checking the wind speed, checking the water temperature, checking your form, until the pool closes. Here is the truth. The market does not reward perfection. The market rewards speed. The market rewards execution. A mediocre plan executed today is infinitely more valuable than a perfect plan executed next year. But your brain would rather be perfect and poor than imperfect and rich. There is a voice that speaks only in the silence of the freeze. You know this voice. It whispers, "Who do you think you are?" This is imposter syndrome. But let's look at it through the lens of identity. We all have an internal identity thermostat. You view yourself as a certain type of person. Maybe you see yourself as the hard worker, or the good student, or the supporter. You do not see yourself as the CEO. You do not see yourself as the millionaire. When you try to take an action that aligns with that higher identity, like starting a company or making a big investment, your subconscious panics. It creates cognitive dissonance. There is a gap between who you are and what you are doing. Your brain hates gaps. Gaps feel like lies, so your brain tries to close the gap by stopping the action. It freezes you to snap you back to your default setting. It feels like you are wearing a suit that doesn't fit. You feel like a child wearing your father's clothes. You feel like everyone is watching you, waiting for you to trip. This is why you can work hard for someone else without freezing. When you work for a boss, you are in the employee identity. It fits. It's comfortable. But the moment you work for yourself, the freeze hits. Because you haven't given yourself permission to be the master. You are waiting for someone to come along and tap you on the shoulder and say, "Okay, you're ready now. You're allowed to be rich." But nobody is coming. There is no knighting ceremony. There is no graduation day. You have to crown yourself. And until you do, your brain will treat every step toward wealth as a step into enemy territory. This is the most insidious form of the freeze. Because it doesn't feel like freezing. It feels like moving. It is called passive action. Active action is doing the thing that gets the result. Making the sales call. Buying the stock. Hitting publish. Passive action is preparing to do the thing. Reading a book about sales. Watching a video about stocks. Designing a logo. Passive action is dangerous because it releases dopamine. When you watch a tutorial on how to make $10,000, your brain gives you a hit of satisfaction. You feel like you learned. You feel productive. You tell yourself, "I'm getting ready." But you aren't moving. You are running on a treadmill. You are sweating. Your heart is beating. But you are in the exact same spot. The freeze often disguises itself as research. You tell yourself you need more information before you start. I just need to watch one more course. I just need to read one more review. This is procrastination masquerading as preparation. You are using information as a shield to protect you from the pain of execution. You are hoarding knowledge to soothe your anxiety. But knowledge without execution is just mental gluttony. It makes you heavy, not strong. Real learning only happens in the arena. You learn more in 1 hour of doing than in 1 year of studying. But doing carries the risk of pain. Studying is safe. So your brain keeps you in the library, while other people less smart than you, are out there getting rich in the field. Let's talk about the social cost of the freeze. Deep down, you aren't just afraid of losing money. You are afraid of losing face. We are social animals. For millions of years, being kicked out of the tribe meant death. If you did something weird, something risky, or something that failed, the tribe might mock you. They might exile you. So we evolved a hypersensitivity to judgment. This is called the spotlight effect. You walk through life thinking that everyone is watching you. You think there is a giant spotlight following your every move. If you launch a business and it fails, you imagine a stadium full of people pointing and laughing. If you post content and it gets 0 views, you imagine everyone you went to high school with whispering about it. So you freeze. You stay small. You keep your head down. You choose the misery of invisibility over the risk of embarrassment. But here is the liberating truth. Nobody is watching you. Everyone else is too busy worrying about the spotlight on their own head. They don't care about your failure. They barely notice your success. You are the main character in your movie, but you are just an extra in everyone else's. Your fear of judgment is a hallucination. You are letting the imaginary opinions of imaginary people dictate your real life. You are freezing to avoid a criticism that will never come. And even if they do judge you, so what? Judgment is the tax you pay for being remarkable. The only way to avoid judgment is to do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. And that is a price you cannot afford to pay. The human brain is an addiction machine. But we aren't just addicted to sugar or phones. We are addicted to certainty. The brain loves patterns. It loves to know what happens next. It craves the predictable. Even if the predictable future is bad, the brain prefers it to an unpredictable future that might be good. Think about that. Your brain would rather be definitely broke than possibly rich. Being broke is a known variable. You know how to navigate it. You know what it feels like. It's a familiar hell. Making money involves entering the unknown. What happens if I succeed? Will my friends change? Will I have to pay taxes? Will I lose it all? The unknown is a black box. And to your survival brain, a black box is a threat. So you freeze to maintain certainty. You stay in the job you hate because you know exactly how much misery to expect on Monday morning. You avoid the investment because the outcome is ambiguous. You are paying a certainty tax. You are trading your potential for the comfort of knowing exactly how your mediocre life will turn out. But wealth is never found in the known. Wealth is the reward for navigating the unknown. Wealth is the compensation you receive for tolerating ambiguity. If you demand a guarantee before you start, you will never start. The freeze is your brain clinging to the shore, terrified to swim into the ocean of possibility. We have diagnosed the disease, the biological fear, the perfectionism, the imposter, the certainty addiction. Now, how do we cure it? You cannot think your way out of a freeze. Thinking is the problem. You have to act your way out. You need to use the 2-minute override. When you feel the freeze setting in, that tightness in the chest, that fog in the brain, you have exactly 2 minutes to move. After 2 minutes, the cement dries. The excuses harden. The paralysis becomes permanent. You must take one micro-action that requires zero thinking. Don't think about building a business. That's too big. The brain freezes. Think about open a blank document. Don't think about investing $10,000. Think about log into the account. Action creates momentum. The hardest part of a rocket launch is the first 10 feet. That is where 90% of the fuel is burned. Once you are moving, the fear evaporates. Why? Because action signals to your amygdala. We are doing this, and we aren't dying. You are proving to your primitive brain that the threat was a lie. You have to operate with a fire then aim mentality. This sounds dangerous, but in the modern world, it is necessary. If you wait until you have aimed perfectly, the target has moved. Fire, then adjust. Move, then correct. Stumble forward. A stumble is still movement. You must adopt the mantra of the wealthy. I am willing to do it badly. Give yourself permission to suck. Give yourself permission to be messy. Because a messy start is infinitely better than a perfect silence. I want you to fast forward. Not to tomorrow. Not to next year. I want you to fast forward to the end. Picture yourself at 90 years old. You are sitting in a chair. Your time is up. The game is over. You look back at your life. You don't regret the things you did. You don't regret the mistakes. You don't regret the times you tried and failed. You regret the freeze. You regret the business you didn't start. You regret the investment you didn't make. You regret the words you didn't say. You realize, with heartbreaking clarity, that there was never a tiger. There was never a spotlight. There was only you, standing in front of an open door, paralyzed by a ghost. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. Right now, you are choosing the heavy weight. You are carrying the burden of your unlived life. Put it down. Break the ice. The fear you feel is not a stop sign. It is a compass. It is telling you exactly where you need to go. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. The freeze is not going to go away on its own. Every time you surrender to it, the ice gets thicker. Every time you back down, the neural pathway of fear gets stronger. You have to shatter it. Today. And you don't have to do it alone. We are building a tribe of icebreakers. We are building a community of people who refuse to live in the frozen comfort of mediocrity. If you are ready to thaw your potential, if you are ready to finally, actually move, subscribe to this channel. Do it now. Don't think about it. Don't hesitate. Override the freeze. Click the button, and let's walk into the fire together. I'll see you on the other side.